love me so much more than I could ever know. Your love is deeper than this world will ever show. And all of life's beauty shines around this moment now. The sky and the cliffs, they seem to change my life somehow. And I will never be the same, will never be the same. Whoa, I will never be the same, never be the same ever again. Here I am waiting, Lord, my life is just for you. Please unfold all the plans that you would have me do. And if all the world's just a breath and nothing's here to stay, and all of the love we feel will save us anyway. And I will never be the same, will never be the same. Whoa, I will never be the same, will never be the same ever again. You love me so much more than I could ever know. Your love is deeper than this world will ever show. And all of life's beauty shines around this moment now. The sky and the cliffs, they seem to change my life somehow. And I will never be the same, will never be the same. Whoa, I will never be the same, never be the same ever again. Here I am waiting, Lord, my life is just for you. Please unfold all the plans that you would have me do.
Hello and welcome to another SDAQ&A. I am your host, Peter Dixon, and my very special guest today is Jane Krause. How are you, Jane?
I'm nervous.
I know, and you know what? The moment I saw your name come up months ago now, I remember thinking, who is this interesting person? And these amazing comments are incredible. And then gradually got to know you better through the chat and messaged a few times. And when I reached out and said, "Hey, would you be interested in sharing your story?" I sensed a little bit of nervous apprehension, and I know that still lingers a little bit. But we're so pleased that you're coming on today and sharing your story. And thank you for overriding the nerves, and especially with such an interesting topic, from Adventist to Catholic nun. So lots of positive comments there. It's good to see. We've got many of our regulars writing and saying that they're watching, and good evening, and glad we're gathering again. And hey from Andy Mack. Moto Sapiens has said, "Hello, Jane. So glad you're telling us your story today." Singing Andy writes, "Hey, Jane. Can't wait to hear more of your story." So, and Brian says, "Don't be, you're amongst friends." So that's very true. Well said, Brian. So, yeah, I guess where do we begin? I think first of all, let's chat a little bit about you and where you grew up and what kind of an Adventist realm you were raised in. Was it conservative or more liberal? But just share with us a little bit about who Jane Krause actually is.
I guess I just want to reiterate, just I'm not a nun yet.
No, sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
But we
God
couldn't fit
willing.
that. We couldn't fit that in the whole sentence there.
Yeah.
From Adventist to sometime in the future Catholic
Yeah.
nun.
Bit of a long title.
Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, I was a Brisbane girl originally. And I think the first church that I remember attending with my family was 8 Mile Plains Adventist Church.
Right.
I have a lot of good memories from that
Mm.
church. So I also have just in general lots of good memories of my childhood growing up. But yeah, I think that church, I don't know how to make the divide sometimes, whether it's like more, I guess it does fall on the more conservative side.
It's funny you
But
say that, because 8 Mile Plains always confused me as well. I remember singing there sometimes, and I wasn't sure whether they were inviting me to do contemporary praise and worship, a games night, or a hymns night, because it seemed like they were quite split down the middle with, the progressives and the conservatives in some ways getting on quite well, but also there was quite a few rifts, I remember, in that particular church.
yeah, and it's an interesting one because unlike most Adventist churches, it had, and I don't know if it still does, but it had 2 services. So it had a early morning service, and then it would have like Sabbath school, and then they would have the, I guess, later morning service.
Yes.
And I would always attend the early morning service because that's the one that my grandparents would attend, and I used to very much often go with them or my parents. So I would always be like, because my grandfather, I think, was either an elder or a deacon, and my grandmother was, I think, for a very long time, the head deaconess of that church. She'd do lots of cooking for the conference office and like church lunches, all that kind of stuff. And so they were always frequently at the early morning service greeters team. And I would just like stand next to my grandfather and like shake people's hands, welcome them.
That's nice. That's a good memory.
Just insert myself.
Yes, that's a good memory. And I
Yeah.
for the record, when this is not about bagging out the Adventist church, it's just really creating a space where people are allowed to share their journey and normalizing that if you don't feel aligned with it, it's okay to seek and find somewhere else. So we're not saying, "Oh, you're terrible," that we disagree with some of the doctrine and theology, of course, and there's robust discussions, but it's more challenging Adventism than attacking Adventism. And as you talk there, I'm remembering all of the great little memories I had as a little boy at some of my grandfather was a head elder at church, and I'd stand next to him as well. And there's some really beautiful social memories I have of within the Adventist church, and you're relaying some of the same as well.
Yeah, and I think it was at that time when I was at 8 Mile Plains that they used to do lots of Revelation and Daniel seminars, but they also used to do like ancient history, but biblical archaeology seminars. And for those who don't know me, I have a degree in art history and archaeology.
Right.
So that really, I guess, ignited my spark of loving history and wanting to know more about history. And I would be so engaged, but it was also the intro to a fascination and love for wanting to know the historical roots of Christianity.
Yeah, that's interesting. And so that would have led you into seeing the many arms or branches as we moved away from the Jesus and James who took over after Jesus died, their community and where they kind of went, and then Paul coming in with his Damascus Road, Jesus in heaven kind of culture, and then that moved into different ways. And by the time we're into the 400s, there were many branches of Christianity, including the Eastern Orthodox movement, which seemed to have its own trajectory separate to everything else. Catholicism, the breakup of the different Protestant movements. What have you discovered in your historical search there that, where's a good point if you're standing here and you don't know much about history? Where's a good point to trace it back to Jesus and the Gospels? Where have you found a good path that makes sense and seems to have kept the initial and original message intact?
That's that can be a very convoluted answer.
We got time.
But I think my instinctual reaction would be to just read the Bible.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people would be like, a Catholic saying read the Bible? God forbid.
Yeah.
But no, it's true. Just reading Matthew, where Jesus tells Peter, "On you I will build my church." And we have a continuous line of succession from that, which can be traced through archaeology, which is an amazing thing to be able to do historically.
Does that tie into the Dead Sea Scrolls and a lot of the things they found in the 40s that were coming out of that cave that produced all that material?
Not entirely. The Dead Sea Scrolls, that's a separate topic, but
Yeah.
the Dead Sea Scrolls are an interesting case in and of themselves.
I guess I'm saying, did that kind of confirm a lot of the biblical narrative? Did it?
Oh yeah. Amazingly so. Even what it did was, for a very long time, especially in early Christianity, they had the Greek translation, the Septuagint of the Old Testament. And a lot of people were wondering, is this valid? Because it's not in the original language. But the Dead Sea Scrolls confirms just how accurate it was as a historical document. That was somewhat more accurate than other texts used to translate the Bible, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And shows just how much care was taken in the original translation of the Septuagint.
So I guess here you are, someone interested in history. You've gone on to literally study in it and in some ways make it your life work, employment and whatnot. At what point did you start looking into Adventist historical claims. So Ellen White talking about the Waldenses and a lot of what her historical claims in the Great Controversy. I'm not asking you to go into detail, but did you suddenly become aware of the Great Controversy and Ellen White's interest in history? If it was accurate or not, that's not really. I'm just trying to work out at what age did you become immersed in the Adventist story of its historical roots to religion and the history of Adventism itself.
If you don't mind, I'll continue where I was before, because I feel like this goes really
Back.
well into this, because
Yeah, sure.
because I was immersed in all of these like Daniel and Revelation seminars, I grew up seeing the horrors of tradition and ritual. And I distinctly remember as a child being intrigued by this. Like, Judaism, it's beautiful. Catholicism, like I remember trying to remember a mental image of a priest holding up the host.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, there is a transcendent beauty in that, but I didn't understand fully what it meant. But from a very young age, I was very drawn to Holy Communion, or the ordinances, as Adventists call it. And from a very young age, I wanted to be involved in that. So like from a very young age, my grandmother would because she was the head deaconess, she would make the communion bread and she'd like set some aside for me in a
Nice.
little in a little lunchbox, and like a little basically a popper of grape juice, where everyone else is getting the tiny little shot glasses and I'm just like chugging grape juice. I'm like, yeah, I'm involved in communion. But then like kind of growing up, going through school, I guess a fortunate thing for me was that I went to state school in primary school. So I was kind of introduced to other people's beliefs. But it also put me in a position where I had to defend my own beliefs, because people would challenge me all the time. Why do you not do anything on Saturdays?
Right.
I had to be able to explain why I believed what I believed from quite a young age. But it also got me to think about why I believed what I believed. And as I said before, like I spent a lot of time with my grandparents. My grandfather was a literature evangelist, a colporteur. So he had like all of the Ellen White books and he'd be like immersed in them. And so I'd grow up with devotionals and, learning about like Adventist traditional beliefs and all these kind of things. So I kind of had that rudimentary understanding of what Adventists believe, why they believe it. But I think it was probably in high school when I was really delving into it, like kind of, really thinking about baptism. Should I get baptized? Is it just like an expectation that I get baptized? Or is it something I want to do? At the time I got baptized, I will admit it was definitely me fulfilling an obligation.
Yeah.
But I kind of grew in that. Like I was very involved with Pathfinders, very involved with church. I was reading through my diary, preparing for today. And there's a line in there that talks about that I really wanted to be involved in the church. And I wanted to, delve deeper into that like religious life. And so I wanted to become a deaconess to, do the kind of things to be part of basically the only ritual that Adventism had, which was communion. And I think that's when I was really like coming to grips of what I believed was communion, and whether that matched up with the Bible and what I actually thought about it all.
Mm. Mm. So with your interest to be involved because of communion and that nice ritual ceremony, do you think that was the first seed planted that eventually led you to this point where you're now becoming more and more involved with the Catholic Church that is, I don't mean it in a bad way, but entrenched in many, many different ceremonial acts and rites? Do you think the ceremony and the communion is what drew you to find something that involved themselves more and more in that kind of way?
I think so, but in saying that, I think it can be a little bit damaging to just put it down as a ritual.
Yes. Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Yeah,
That's what
because,
I was careful to try and not. I wasn't
yeah.
meaning that.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
but that because you, I get.
But it's
Let me
very
reword
easy
it.
to, when that word is just used,
Yeah,
like, it's very easy to, like, be like, "Oh, yeah, that's just a ritual," without,
yeah,
like, fully understanding
yeah.
what it is.
What I should have worded it as, when you're young, most people go to communion and they like, oh, oh, here we go. I've got to take my socks off and do this, once they're baptized and involved with the communion process. But you seem to have grasped the deeper level, the deeper meaning of it.
Mm.
And because of that, it seems like you yearned for more. So I guess what I'm saying is,
Oh, I did. I
when
really
you looked
did.
at this other movements, like there's other religions, Eastern Orthodox, Catholicism. When you came across Catholicism, and I want to go deeper into that in a little while, but do you think because you grasped the deeper notion of something Adventism did offer, you then were able to see it more deeply in Catholicism, and that's what drew you? So not to the surface level rituals, but because you had a desire to be a part of these processes to draw you deeper to Christ. And
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
100%. I would I never understood why people would, like, even as a teenager, I never understood why people would be like, "Oh, it's communion next week, we're not gonna come."
yeah,
Or like,
exactly.
or people turn up and they're like, "Oh, it's communion, I don't wanna be here."
And they
Like,
walk
I
back out
never
the car
understood
park.
that. I was like,
Yeah.
"What? Is this not
Mm.
the whole point of Christianity?"
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But, like, yeah, I would be dumbfounded as to people who would actively avoid communion.
Yeah. I know. You'd come to church on that day and the car park was always only a quarter full. And I guess, I mean, there's so many things coming into my mind now, which path to go down. Let's put aside the communion and the discovering of Catholicism and the beautiful rites and rituals and the
Hmm.
depth. Well, I want to talk about, what do these rites mean? What is the 12 stations? Is it just that? And I'm interested in exploring that more. So let's just put that on the table on the side for a moment and come back to it. I'm keen now to look at, so that was something in Adventism you were drawn to. You loved the depth of it. At what point did you start thinking, this may not be the religion for me?
I think, no shade to Avondale. But,
Yes.
like, I think, when I never really thought about it in the way of, you know, really thinking about something interiorly until I was, at Avondale, where,
Mm.
like, you live and you breathe Adventism.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
you're surrounded in the bubble.
Yes.
Because it was then that I really, had to really think about what I actually believed. And whether I agreed with, like, because I was taking, I originally went to Avondale because I was trying to figure out what my vocation was.
Mm.
And I was like, I originally was like, I'm gonna do theology, and then I was told, no, women can't do that. And I was like,
Oh,
okay, I'll do teaching then, because like I was no way gonna do nursing. I'm just not a medical
these are your
person.
only options.
Also my parents are nurses, so I was
Right.
like, no, not nursing.
Yeah, yeah,
But I was like, I'll do teaching because that's, like an appropriate vocation for a woman to do that, wants to dedicate her life to the ministry.
yeah.
But I decided to do religion, and I was in these classes with these boys. Oh, my cat is in the background. And essentially they were like fully on, equating Ellen White to basically being like Paul.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
she deserves to be in the Bible. Here's the Adventist Bible that has her writings in it. And
Mm,
I was like actually a little bit shocked
yeah,
and confronted by people who would genuinely argue that she belonged in the Bible.
yeah,
And I was just like, what?
yeah.
No.
No, yeah, no thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's quite confronting. So you'd kind of sailed along. There's things you enjoyed. There were social aspects that were fun. You loved the deeper aspects of communion. Sounds like you had a great relationship with your grandparents. Sounds like they doted on you. It sounds like lots of things were going well. So it wasn't really that you were treated badly. It wasn't
No.
really that you came across any big doctrine that stood out as glaring until maybe in retrospect. But you did start to get this idea, hang on a second, the Ellen's authority is placed very high here. Did it occur to you, like progressives always say, well, Ellen said I wasn't a prophet. A few weeks later, she wrote that she's more than a prophet.
Mm.
They forget to add that little bit. But how did you kind of feel about that? The church itself, at its core level, places Ellen White really high up. Like you said, I can just imagine these young pastors, these boys, as you call them, viewing her on a par with Paul and thinking of her as part of the canon, and do you think Ellen kind of fostered that notion a little bit herself? Because the church definitely has. Where did she place herself in that kind of narrative?
I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
And because like when I first was like kind of confronted by that, it made me retrospectively look at like the small little things that I'd been taught all of my life about Christianity, in a sense. Like,
Mm.
and then like I would be like thinking, hang on, like my baptismal studies were mainly the pastor showing me pictures
Yeah.
of his trip to the Middle East.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't cover like anything of like the church's actual doctrine. So
Yeah.
I'm like fully researching it all of myself. Like trying to almost kind of not like combat these boys in my class,
Yeah.
but kind of to be like, how on earth do you believe that she belongs in the Bible? Like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to almost like justify your beliefs to myself.
Yeah.
So I can almost understand where they're coming from. But I would be like coming up with things like, I'd be like remembering like small little things that we'd get taught in religious ed. Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, Jesus and Michael the Archangel are the same thing. And I'd be like, hang on,
Yeah.
hang
Yeah.
on. That is that is massively like very heretical.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and like every little thing that I would unearth would be
Yes.
like another can of worms. Oh, nope, that's a bad
Yeah,
one. I don't know if I want to keep stepping into this, but I
yeah,
would keep going just for my own, I don't know, understanding of
yeah,
trying to understand what these people were kind of,
yeah.
where they were coming from, and it made me more and more sure that like that made no sense.
Yeah, that's interesting because as you begin, whether you've been an Adventist all your life or not, eventually you begin a point of discovery. And as you go down that path and you go, what? The scapegoat is Satan? What? The atonement wasn't completed at the cross? What? We're the remnant that has a special message that for these last days to stand and vindicate God? What? As you go down that path, you either run with that kind of more historicist traditional Adventism and you're embraced into the kind of the realm of those more conservative Adventists, or as you're going there, on the side of the road, you have the good gospel Adventists and progressive Adventists, many of whom do grasp the gospel, but they will say, hey, look, no, don't listen to that. Ellen didn't even call herself a prophet. Come over here. And they offer you some kind of nice Adventism that's cultural and happy Sabbath and haystacks on Sabbath afternoon. And then you find yourself, oh, I'm happy here, but I want to go back and address some of these questions again. And they either lull you into this eddy, this side kind of Adventism where it's all just peaches and cream, or you sleep past them again and you go back down the rabbit hole. It's like a perfect storm for never gaining clarity. You either run with the traditional view and get embraced and it all makes sense, or the progressives keep throwing you these curveballs that seem to make sense but don't add up as well. Did you come to that point where you thought, okay, I'll be a progressive Adventist and liberal Adventist and I'll see Ellen White in a proper perspective, and kind of managed to just hang in there? Or where did you
I
find
feel
yourself
like
after you were questioning all these deeper cray Adventist teachings like the scapegoat and the atonement and Michael as Jesus? Where did you find yourself as you confronted those? Because you obviously didn't go down the fundamental rabbit hole. You must have gone in somewhere. Where did you go after that initial round of questioning?
I think like oddly, I think while I was at Avondale, I had the realization that like I didn't fall in either of the wildly two different camps of like
Yeah,
liberal Adventism and like conservative Adventism. I was very much
yeah,
like a down the middle
yeah, centrist.
kind of. I'm confused by both of you.
Yeah,
um
yes, yeah.
because like
That's
I could see the
interesting.
contradictions of both
Yes,
sides,
sides.
of like
That's a good
one
point.
wildly going, oh yeah, like we do our baptismal vows, but like who really cares, like it's a vow, it
Yes,
doesn't really matter.
yeah. I know, and
And
you
then the
find
other
yourself going,
side,
"Oh, okay, really?"
going, all these things are idolatrous, but like all hail Ellen White. you know
Yes. I find it
um
yeah, that's well, how did you deal with that? I mean, I'm envious of you and others that I've interviewed that managed so I reached that point probably in my early 30s where I thought, "Hang on a second. Both sides and every faction in between and to the left and the right and whichever kind of Adventism you are, there's something disingenuous going on with one lot and there's something very deluded going on with the other lot, but I just seemed to kind of find my path and do music and happily went on for another 20 years. What was it, and this is the part I'm envious about, that you were able to go, hang on a second, no, I'm not going to live a life of this incongruence, this cognitive dissonance. I need more clarity. What was it within your makeup that made you be able to take some really positive, difficult, forward-moving steps?
I'll be honest, it wasn't a very quick thing.
Well, it
It
was
was
compared to my
over
journey.
10 years of me like
Yeah,
being like, okay, I can see the vast differences between these two camps, and also me making that choice to be like actually authentic.
Yes.
And that was like I went down a route of being like, well, Adventism is very similar to Judaism.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I went down that road. And then I was like, but how I cannot give up Christ.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of things, but like I'd be reading the gospel and going, yeah, but that like this, that, and the other is not how we're called to live as Christians.
Yeah.
And then kind of, that calling, that yearning, that wanting like intimacy with Christ is what really, I think, kind of pulled me over the line of, really making sure I understood what I was doing before actually like stepping out of basically the only thing I'd ever known for my entire life, which was Adventism. Stepping out of the comfort zone is not something that comes naturally to me.
Right. I
Yeah.
wonder if because I would say it took me 25 years. You're saying 10 years. My era had no social media. So we were governed by what we were told and what we could scrounge around and find. And largely the material was either secular, progressive Adventist, mild criticizing and revealing of Ellen's flaws, or the real conservative material, Ellen White stuff, as well as her apologists. So I'm wondering if your generation can benefit and move quicker because of social media, where at your fingertips you can actually explore really fast a lot of the content that would take me a year to even find a book on. I'd hear about it and you try and find it and they're not available in the bookshops or anywhere. Eventually you'd be singing some town and someone would have a book of, Judged by the Gospel by Bob Brinsmead, and can I borrow it? And it just took a long time. I yearned to wake up, but it took a lot longer. So maybe social media helps with that.
Maybe. I don't know. I would say I'm not going to speak for my entire generation because
No.
I
Which
cannot
is your
do that.
generation again? Are you the
I think I'm
millennial or?
well, yeah, I think I'm millennial.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think for a lot of us, we ask questions, and unfortunately, for churches like Seventh-day Adventism, and that goes for like Jehovah's Witnesses, Mormons, all of those kind of
High
churches.
control.
Yes, high control groups.
Thanks, Andy.
Questions are not welcome.
Yes. Well, that's what I'm saying. When in my generation, we did ask as many questions as your generation. I can assure you we were very inquisitive, but we were met with walls, suppression, literal PA system, mic plugs pulled out, so we couldn't even talk.
But we have Google.
Yeah. And so we asked the questions and we were suppressed because it was harder to find them. And Adventism is brilliant, like you say, those other religions too, at shutting down the person asking why, asking questions. Whereas now, if you're shut down, the millennials can go, oh, hey, Google, I've just been shut down by my head elder. What about this and plagiarism? And up comes the information. So that's my theory anyway.
Yeah, I think also, I think personally for me, I think I was very benefited by the fact that I wasn't educated completely in Adventist schools
Very
only.
true. Yes.
And also that I had the chance to go to the Australian National University.
Yes.
So like I went to Avondale, did the Avondale experience, but I also went to ANU.
Yeah.
And that's where I did archaeology. And a lot of people, when I was studying archaeology, were like, oh, how can you study archaeology? They're going to be teaching all these things that are bad and wrong. And I would be regularly questioning. I'd be like, okay, like, so you're going to be hardcore about like this particular thing about evolution. So what if I challenge you? My lecturers are like, yes, challenge. You must
Yes.
challenge.
Yes. Yes. It's encouraged.
Yeah, it's encouraged to challenge
Mm,
things.
mm.
Obviously, like within reason.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, with academic rigor.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were very much like, no, challenge, and also like, you know, enjoy learning.
Yes.
Enjoy
Yeah.
like discovery things, like that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. And I think
Adventism
that,
discourages academic rigor.
yeah, it really does, because when I was at Avondale, one of the classes I did was on the Reformation, and I think I wrote something that they didn't like, and they failed my
It's
entire essay.
interesting. Wow. Because they
Yeah.
didn't like the questions.
And I was like,
Yeah.
oh well, I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So you've had your Avondale years and your experience. What years were you at Avondale?
2013 to 2017.
Okay. So 2013, I think I still had my music shop up at the end of the road. I think I sold it around 2014 or 15, maybe. No, yeah. So we may have crossed paths at the elephant shop or the local takeaway
Probably.
or the Renaissance. Um, so you have your Avondale experience. You go and have your ANU, your secular university experience. You're starting to see really that the core of your being wants to just simply ask questions, feel connected, but also have a meaningful relationship with your Jesus, with your Christ. At what point in there did Catholicism start to come on your radar?
Well, I just realized that I have something I need to go get, but
Yes, you can go and get that while
yeah, I'm gonna go get that.
you do that, and I'll let everyone know what's happening tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we're chatting to Jane Krause, and we're just going to get to this interesting part of her story, where she became interested in Catholicism and is heading towards actually becoming a nun. So it's fascinating, and I love the concept of people who think for themselves, look at the data, draw their own conclusions. I don't actually. I'm not worried with people who what their conclusions are many times. I just appreciate that people actually think and make up their own minds. And so we're chatting to Jane and learning how she's come up with hers. And tomorrow we've got a very interesting conversation with Grenville Kent, who is a what would I say, a Christian apologist, a believer in God. And we've got Peter Veach, who is a non-believer. And the thing I like about this platform is that for me personally, and I hope many of you, actually, are willing to accept people who have thought for themselves and drawn their own conclusions. And so here we will have Grenville Kent saying that there is evidence for God, and Peter Veach, who will be saying there isn't evidence for God. And it's going to be a really interesting conversation, because we're going to be witnessing people using their minds, looking at the data, and drawing their own conclusions. And I love that. I really do. For long-time watchers of this show, I actually don't really make a lot of claims. And in fact, I try and sit back and have some very basic beliefs that I hang on to that kind of guide my day to day. And that's why I love listening to people like Jane share their story, people like Peter Veach from the agnostic side of things. I love that all of you watching have, been drawn to this channel, probably because you do enjoy thinking and robust discussions and having challenging questions asked of you, and that you get a chance to ask challenging questions too. So maybe in the comments later on, if you'd like to ask Jane some questions, that'd be great to hear from you as well. So back to you, Jane. You've gotten your extra resource there. But yeah,
Yeah.
tell us, when did Catholicism first start coming on the radar? Was it post all of those other experiences, or had you seen it in the distance, you know, waving at you from time to time?
I mean, I'm sure all of us who were raised Adventist
Oh
were
yes,
probably introduced
Catholicism. Catholicism
to
was on the radar. Yes,
yeah.
don't get me wrong. I know that.
Yeah.
I mean, the positive aspects of Catholicism. When did that begin to wave at you?
I think it was probably when I was either year 11 or year 12 in 2011 and 2012.
Yes.
And we had like a compulsory class we had to do. And it was called Studies of Religion. And we
Yes.
had to learn about other churches, which I'm sure was challenging at an Adventist school.
That is very challenging.
Yeah. And so it kind of the like a lot of like, doc ideas, but like I think my brain dwelled on it a lot because recently when I was going through some of my school stuff, because my parents moved down to Canberra where I live, and they have all of my school stuff because if they're watching, they're hoarders. But like but the important things like sentimental school things.
Yeah, yeah, I'm like that too. Good on you,
and
Grouses.
one of them was my art diary, and I don't know if you can see it, but see if I can get a better picture. So I'm realizing now that this is going to be difficult, but I had lots of pictures of different variations of communion, and this was my senior, I think year 12 art project, where I was really ambitious and thought I was so smart because I was going to do stained glass windows, which you cannot do in year 12. But
Okay.
I did like a stained glass window, but basically like communion.
Just keep that there for a second.
Oh yeah.
Yes, great. Wow.
Yeah, and I had all sorts of see if I can find another picture.
Oh, rosary beads. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. So you were getting into the symbology of
Yes,
Catholicism.
yeah.
Now that's very interesting because normally good Adventists, when they come across anything to do with Catholicism, they may have been raised on this book like I was, not by my parents, but just it was readily available at church and turned into plays where the Sunday law comes in. You got to keep the Sabbath. Catholics and the state merge and bring in these laws, and there's a lot of fear. So every time I would find myself near anything Catholic, I would go, oh. What do you? Why did that? Maybe because of your artistic bent, you were able to just look at the art side of it. Mind you,
Well, in
art
saying
was
that,
my
I think
major as well. I wonder
I
why.
just had a memory pop up.
Mm.
It was definitely year 12 that I did this, but I even tried making my own rosary. Like
In year 12.
without knowing anything about it. I'm like,
Oh, I
yeah,
love it.
this is beads and a
Yeah,
cross.
yeah. Two of your favorite things.
I'm just like, obviously now I know a lot more about it, but but yeah, I was very much into like trying to, I don't even know. I was fascinated by the devotion of it.
Yeah.
Not in an emotive sense, but kind of the use of it as a tool for devotion.
Yes. There's something about it that's very sacred and restful, even though we were raised to see it as provocative and dangerous. I remember in the early 2000s, so over 20 years ago, well before I met my wife, who is Irish, I was visiting Ireland just for fun. I was just following my nose. I had no plan, no maps, no GPS. I literally had my backpack, and I'd walk or hitchhike or catch a train or a bus, or I hired a car sometimes. But I found myself in this little town called Wicklow, which is in a part of Ireland called Wicklow, a bigger, not a state, but just got a mental blank. Anyway, it was one of the first times I'd ever actually walked into a Catholic church. And I remember walking in, it was just so beautiful and peaceful, and the padre or whatever, the priest, was there, and he was friendly and didn't have horns coming out his head. And this must have been 2002, I think. And I remember walking around and just seeing the beautiful sculptures, and I thought, hang on, these aren't idols. These are drawing us into a sense of meaning behind what they are portraying. It's not just here's an image of, he showed me the 12 stations of the cross. And instead of seeing the fear and the guilt and the worry, I suddenly saw the passion and the compassion and the empathy and the beauty. And it was a really interesting moment. And I remember as I walked out of that and the sun was shining and it was a beautiful day and I wandered down by myself to the beach, I just remember thinking, I think I've shifted my view on Catholicism just from that one experience, because it was very artistic and it was very reverent and sacred. But it had taken me a long time to kind of get to that point. So it sounds like you also connected with the artistic side of it. You love the beads,
Yeah.
you love the way light shines through colored glass.
Yes.
At what
I really
point then?
did, and I think it's I think was very blessed because I got away with this in an Adventist school.
Yes.
But there is something to say about the transcendentals, the beauty, truth, and goodness of God, and that we can create, not as God can create, but that we can create.
Yeah.
As human beings, like
Yeah.
and it's an amazing way to connect with God through art. Like we're not iconoclasts.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're allowed to have art in our life.
Yes. Yeah.
Unlike a lot of Ellen White's original beliefs.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And
But
at what point, though, as a year 12 student discovering these Catholic art forms, did you start to not only see what they were representing and the meaning behind the art, like the beads is all about prayer and being meditative,
meditating on God
yeah,
and Christ's
and
life, yeah.
slowly going through it. And so at what point did you start becoming aware of that they had deeper meanings? And then at what point did those deeper understandings lead you to experiencing and partaking of the communion experiences with all the different Catholic art forms and representations?
Well, let's just say this. First off, I was very skittish to be like all in. So
Yeah.
like I did dabble a little bit in Anglicanism. When I say dabble, I mean one of our school projects, we had to go to a different church and kind of experience what that was like. And so I went to St. Luke's Cathedral in Toowoomba.
Yes.
It's a beautiful church. And I found it to be really interesting, but very different. I mean, extremely different to how I grew up. But like, you're right. It was like, because I think I'd been to a Catholic church before. I'd gone to multiple Catholic weddings because my mother used to work at St. Vincent in Toowoomba as a nurse.
Yes.
And so walking into these buildings is like a completely different feeling. And I know people bristle at the word feeling, but it's almost like the atmosphere is very different from when you walk into an Adventist church and then you walk into a cathedral.
Yes.
Or even like a little chapel.
Yeah.
The atmosphere is reverent.
Yeah.
It's quiet. It's solemn. It is a designated place of prayer.
Yeah. This one in Wicklow I was telling you about wasn't a big cathedral. It literally was a little Catholic church. White stone walls, quite tiny. But as soon as I walked in, I thought there's something special here, whereas I was expecting something demonic.
Yeah.
Which is quite, dare I say, silly, but many people watching who are Protestants and moved away from Adventism but did not embrace Catholicism, many still, having left the Adventist church, view Catholicism as very dangerous still.
Mm.
When people have, started to hear your story as you've told friends and people how have they responded to that? Because Anglicans, they're slowly, like people say, oh, when the Anglicans and Catholics and they all start getting together and everyone starts bending to the Pope, that's the time of the end. Is what you're going through validating the concerns of Protestants and Seventh-day Adventist fundamentalists?
I don't know. I think from a very young age, I was also like, so what's wrong with all Christians agreeing with one another? I feel like that can't be a bad thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Which was a very unpopular view.
I know, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.
They were like, what?
Oh,
Ecumenicalism? Oh.
yeah. Oh, no. How
And I'm
dare
just
we get
like,
along?
but like in the Bible, it says the church, not the churches.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't know, like, but also like, I don't know. I don't understand how people, I don't know. I'm not going to go down that road.
I know. It's an interesting one.
Yeah.
I find people, very upset if their personal beliefs are challenged, and B, very judgmental if you hold a different belief to them.
Mm.
And I struggle with understanding that.
Yeah. What was really interesting, and I'm just going to add another little bit of tidbit from like high school era.
Yeah.
But like, I remember for a little bit we had Dr. John Hammond come and spend some time at our school, and he did a whole like a whole chapel on Saint Maximilian Kolbe.
Right.
And I was like just enthralled because like he was a Catholic priest who gave up his life. There's a whole movie. It's called Triumph of the Heart. It's coming out. I think you can stream it now. But basically he's a Franciscan priest, and he was a political prisoner who was sent to Auschwitz in World War II. And there was a group of prisoners, and the Nazis were like, we're going to basically put 10 rand in a starvation bunker. They picked the last guy, and he was like, my wife and my children. And Maximilian Kolbe was like, I will volunteer. I'm a priest. I have no family. I'll take the place of this guy. And like he basically talked about this and a few other Holocaust martyrs. And I think something clicked in me, and I was like, like I wish, like, wow, like that's an amazing belief. And like of someone to dedicate their entire life to something, but also to essentially be like Christ in that way of taking someone else's place.
How did John Hammond, he lives like I could walk 2 minutes and I'd be at his house. How did he frame that story? knowing that, was he telling you this is a Catholic and sharing that Catholics actually can be good people? Is that what he was trying to say?
I can't remember, I'll be honest, because this was probably 15 years ago.
Right.
But the essentials of the story kind of stuck in my brain.
Yeah.
But
So
like
you got to see this person practicing what they preach.
yeah,
One of the things I was
and
greatly
willing to
disappointed.
die for it too.
Yes. One of the things I was personally greatly disappointed with, because I was a bit young to be able to be involved when the whole Des Ford thing went pear-shaped in 1980, and the years after that, for at least 4, 5, 6, 7 years, there was a witch hunt. If you were a Fordite, you were out. So I'm doing lots of A and B options here today, but I was very annoyed with the fundamentalist CBs who were doing that. But B, years later, as I've interviewed a lot of the progressive Adventists, I'm disappointed in them for not having the courage and the guts to stand up like that guy you just mentioned, like that priest, willing to put his life on the line. And, they worked out clever ways to go under the radar, but I would have much preferred, and look, a lot of them did, and we never hear their story because they were kicked out. So it sounds judgmental of me, but yeah, so what? I'm here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that left a big impact, and it kind of goes back to what I was saying about like trying to be authentic. I saw like actual authenticity in that story.
Yes.
Whereas I would observe, I mean, this is a compliment to the conservatives, but they are authentic
Yes.
in what they believe.
Yes.
And I wildly disagree with them.
Yes.
But like
We're
there
on the
is an
same
authenticity
page.
there.
Yeah.
Whereas on the more progressive side of Adventism, there is a leniency to almost like disguise what Adventism really is
Yes.
in flowery language that sounds
Yeah.
acceptable and mainstream.
Yeah.
But really,
Yeah.
it's not.
It's very
And
disingenuous, because
it is very
what you've just
disingenuous
made me realize
because
something.
and this kind of goes into what your question was, like, how did people react? When I moved down here, I was going to the more conservative church. I was not, I was very much in the, I've been an Adventist all my life, this is what I'm comfortable with. But I'm also like itching that I don't really gel with this.
Yeah.
And so like there was a church plant. I'm not going to name names, but they called their church Pillar of Fire.
Right.
Yeah. But I'm not going to name any names of who goes and what. But essentially they're more progressive.
Yeah.
And they outwardly say that they're a progressive church plant.
Mm.
And the first time I went to that church plant, the head elder blessed the marriage of a same-sex couple. And I was like, okay, they seem open-minded, at least.
Mm. Mm.
And I was kind of intrigued where this was going to go. But I soon discovered that while they would outwardly like bless people with differing lifestyles and all this kind of stuff, there would be like a backtracking of, oh no, that wasn't actually a blessing, it was just praying over two people the day before they were getting
Yeah,
married.
I know.
And I'm just
Yeah.
like, that is a blessing though.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
the definition of a blessing.
Yeah. I
Um
know. It's I come back to that word disingenuous. And something
yeah.
you said made me think of I'll just quickly bring up, I don't know if I left the word in there. No, I've taken it out. The Liberals love, having a broad sense. Don't categorize me. But the reason they don't want to be categorized is because they know the source material is not pleasant to read. And so they water it down, change categories, shift things, change focus. We're liberal, progressive, revisionist, big tent, cultural, gospel-based, Sabbatarian, evangelical. That's not my Adventism. They're so, what's the word, obfuscate. They're good at doing the nothing to see here. But by the very nature of doing that, they're admitting that they initially are trying to hide this terrible, scary stuff from Ellen White. And Harry Ballas called that kind of Adventist. He says Sabbatarian evangelicals are too tricky dicky, and they are, and I guess I was too. People would say, what about this and that, and you'd go, oh look, I focus on Jesus, which sounds like you maybe not. And instead of questioning, come on board and let's just focus on Jesus. But the reality is, everything the Progressive Adventist does is try to hide or water down the source material of Adventism. And by doing that, and then when you question what they're trying to cover up, they say, oh, no, what we're covering up wasn't there in the first place.
Yeah.
Thank you. You've actually, what you said earlier has made me gel and think about that idea. I haven't thought of it like that before. They're
And
covering up the ugliness.
Because when I was like, this is going to be super esoteric, but I kind of had like this, person moment with God that kind of convinced me that, like, get out of the rut of not changing because you're comfortable. But like when I was very convicted that I should probably do something about my spiritual life instead of just, being comfortable. And I decided to withdraw my step back from my roles at church. I wasn't even like leaving church. I was just like, I'm the Pathfinder leader, but I don't want to teach the kids about Ellen White.
Yes. So I'll just quietly remove
I don't
myself
want to
from that.
indoctrinate these children.
Yeah.
And I had that realization that I didn't want to do that. And so I wasn't even like, I'm leaving, I'm going to do all this kind of stuff. But like the minute I said that, they were like, where are you going? Have you said some things about Ellen White? Don't talk about our prophet. I was like, I thought you guys were the liberal ones. I'm so confused right now.
I know. Yeah. I know.
But yeah, it soon became like, interrogate her, what she actually is going to do. I was literally met with an intervention, and I will stick to that's what happened.
Wow.
Because it was very much under the guise of, we're going to talk about Pathfinders.
Yeah.
And then my friend basically grilled me as to, don't you know better? Like, surely you should know better about the history of Christianity, according to Ellen White. And, going to church on Saturday and all these kind of things. And I was just like, I am so confused as to where this came from. I thought we were going to be talking about Pathfinders.
Yeah. Yes. False pretenses.
Yeah. And then a few weeks later, where I was truthfully double dipping my time. Because I also go to weekday mass as well when I can. I'd be going to mass on Sunday. I'd be going to church on Sabbath, mass on Sunday. So I would be double dipping. And I get this call from my said friend, and she was basically telling me that I had been reported to the church leadership for wearing a crucifix, which was hilarious because at the time I did not own one. And that I was proselytizing Catholicism at church.
Yeah.
Which I did not do because I was simply answering a question about where I went to church.
Yes, interesting.
And that I was telling people that they should believe in Ellen White, which is also not true. Because I couldn't care less if they do
Yeah.
or not.
Yeah,
But
interesting.
I was
Well,
just
that's
saying
what
I
they like
don't.
to do. They like to extrapolate, gaslight, straw man. They love doing that.
Yeah. Which a little bit of a detail, because I actually know who dobbed me in.
Yeah.
She has a massive back tat of like Christ on the cross.
Mm.
So that's okay.
Oh, so she's an Adventist.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
With a massive tattoo
Tattoo
of
of Jesus.
Christ on the cross. Basically a massive crucifix tattooed
Turning
onto her
herself
skin.
into an idol.
But my little
Oh, dear.
non-existent necklace was,
Yes.
you couldn't have
No,
that.
okay. Oh, my
And I
goodness.
truthfully, I literally cried on the phone because I am an emotional person. And I
Yeah.
was just like, it was like blow after blow after blow of,
Yeah.
wow, I am so uncomfortable. I don't like this. What?
Yes.
It just felt
Yeah.
like the most hard change ever because I was leaving everything that I
Mm.
knew for
Yes.
something that was, basically I was told my entire life was the worst possible thing I could choose.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I wish Frank Marandino's watching. He's saying some great things in the comments, and he said something to me once that Adventists aren't willing to jettison certain of these doctrines that are unbiblical. And as I was saying before, based on something you said that made me see this, is the progressive Adventist, they don't even jettison these crazy Michael and Michael was Jesus.
No, they keep it quiet.
So what they do is they step in front of it and they go, look at this and here's this and let's look at Jesus and this is what this means and this is what that means, and they're unwilling. And so when you say, oh, but what about this and that stuff? Oh no, that's not there. And they, instead of jettisoning, they just jazz hands
Quietly ignore it as if it doesn't
it's right
exist.
behind them. And so eventually, when they're years and years of constantly being pressed on the matter, they don't relent. They continue to say, no, you're just looking at it wrong. George Knight, which I'll be playing the interview I did with him next week sometime, he kept saying to me, so this is interesting, that the traditional Adventists told me, don't ask questions. The progressive Adventists tell me I'm asking the wrong questions. He said to me time and time again in that interview, watch it if you get a chance, oh, Peter, you're asking the wrong questions. And I thought, you can't win.
No.
If you're an Adventist and genuinely seeking, what does Adventism actually really stand for at its core? All the jazz hand progressives, jazz hand, I might add that to my list of, that's not my Adventism. The jazz hand Adventist, hey, nothing to see here. They are doing us a disservice. They would be better to say, look, we are trying to present a better form of Adventism because not only do we not agree with this prior kind of Adventism, the historical Adventism, the core and root and DNA of Adventism, we're just not going to jettison it. So they try and hang on to it and then show you a new kind of Adventism that has never taken root. And so people like yourself and myself, people who want to have a genuine experience connecting back with source, with the biblical source, never find a home in Adventism. And then they wonder, well, why are you all leaving? Well,
Yeah.
Young people are leaving in droves.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think a lot of press has been on like young men leaving from these more traditional forms, but I think also it is true for women as well. We're just often ignored. But
Yeah.
like truthfully in Adventism, I felt like the epitome of what a woman could be is a pastor's wife.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, how sad.
Yeah.
Truthfully, like come on.
Yeah, I know.
Like, yeah. Whereas
Even
like,
worded into their
and from a
language.
very young age, and this kind of goes more into the title, but like
Yeah.
from a very young age, I'd be like, how come Adventists don't have religious orders?
Yes.
Which is not a normal thing for most. Like every other girl is like, what? Weird.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know.
But how good would that be? You could then
Yeah, it
have
would
a
be great.
legitimate progressive Adventist order. And those guys can happily, do what they want. I remember my brother-in-law when I visited Ireland last time, a few years ago. He took me into a place near where he lived, and there was a beautiful Franciscan monastery in ruins, and it had been there for maybe 400 or even 600 years, and it was it was a site you could visit. It had signs up telling you about things, and he took me through and showed it to me. But as we stood there in the front, he pointed out into the valley and up the hills, and he said, this used to be a village around here, and these had their wheat fields and their potato fields and whatever, and this was the stream, and that's where the mill was. And the Franciscan monks played a huge role in supporting and caring for the community. And I love that notion that this particular order, the Franciscans, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it. I need to learn it properly because I really respect what they do. Their whole order was raised up. We just want to help people in community. That's what we are going to do. So imagine if Adventism did that, and it would start to maybe grow.
But unfortunately, and I think this is a problem in wider Protestantism,
Right.
but there is like this sense of discomfort when it comes to people consecrating their entire life and remaining celibate for the sake of the kingdom. Even though like Christ himself was celibate.
Yeah. And look, if you have this idea of orders, groups within a broader, bigger church, people don't have to choose that.
Yeah.
They don't have to be celibate and choose the nun or the priesthood. It seems to me a really great. My mother-in-law, sadly, she's passed now by a year or so. She gave me the Catholics have little cards often, and it'll be if you got one there you can hold up.
I do.
Yeah, show me your one.
Saint Teresa of Avila.
Nice. Yes. Well, she gave me a similar one. I should go and find it so I can hold it up too.
Or Our Lady of Sorrows.
Yes. And they're not magical like tarot cards that you're bringing up to do anything magical.
Yeah, it's not like collecting Pokemon, guys.
No, it's not Pokemon. But she gave me this card. I think it was a picture of Jesus calming the storm, and he's on the front of the boat, and the seas are raging, but it's calming, and the apostles are all, the disciples are all concerned, and it just had a nice little saying or something. And she just says, whenever I feel that life's getting hard, I just look at this card, and it just helps me remember and reflect. And it was beautifully drawn. Yes, lovely. And I think a lot of these Catholic symbols and whatnot are often misunderstood, and probably maybe even by friends that are watching the show today might be shocked to hear me saying this. But there's something.
I've got a Christmas one. Here we go. Woo! Oh,
yeah.
I've got a whole bag.
The whole bag of them. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, I've only got 2 cards. But I love this notion of people now, all churches, Australia, around the world, Catholics started the ball rolling. There's been terrible abuse. We're not denying that, but let's
No.
admit it, the Adventists have been involved with that too.
Oh,
So
yeah.
have people who have run gyms. So
Yep.
there's been an entrenched, disgusting, terrible abuse.
Mm.
So we're not saying that that hasn't happened, but we are saying that there are many good things within lots of communities, and maybe a way to help people remain and feel connected is to allow them to form little subgroups within that. And I was just going to say, my mother-in-law told me about this will segue into what we're going to learn more about with you next. What is it's not a monastery where nuns gather, a convent?
Yes. I mean,
Um,
it can be a monastery or an abbey. I think
it's not a
well, let's
nunnery,
not
is
go.
it?
Let's not be convoluted. But yeah, convents.
So there's a convent down the road, and she took me there to have a look one day, and it's where the women they don't talk. It's a silent. They just pray. When they eat, they will chat amongst themselves, but they don't talk in community. But they have a large letterbox, and people handwritten notes they put in there. Like my husband is sick, my children need shoes, all these different things, and then they just pray and then they write a handwritten letter back to every single person that has put their address there. And I thought, isn't that lovely? It's not rocket science. It's just people putting their faith into practice in some way. And Adventists want to control and monitor and suppress, ostracize, silence. It just doesn't give the movement a chance to flourish, and for people like you and myself to find a home. And so we left. So I want to come to that part of things now.
Yeah.
Just a quick reminder, Rochelle wrote in the group, there's no book SDAQ&A book club this week. Thanks, Rochelle, for letting us know. So no SDAQ&A book club. But coming up on Friday or Thursday night,
We should highlight Rochelle's comment. Adventism doesn't want subgroups because it's a cult. And like all other cults, it requires uniformity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Emma Ray will be on Thursday night, 5:30 p.m. Pacific. Friday, Australia, New South Wales, 12:30, doing a gospel message, not here on this channel, but on our own Good News Fellowship channel, which is really taking off and beautiful community growing there. But yeah, thanks, Rochelle, for that. It doesn't want subgroups because it's a cult. I'll tell you what. Well, one of the definitions of a cult is how they treat people when they leave. Have you officially left? Have you made a public statement?
Yeah, I recently it was taking a while for me to get any kind of feedback whether they'd actually taken my name off the roll.
Right.
So I was like, I'm going to be proactive and I'm going to badger them.
Good.
And I actually had to go back to my former church recently when my cousins were visiting me. And while I was there, I was like, I took the pastor aside and I was like, I just want to know where the process is at. Have you taken my name off yet?
Yes.
And I think he was kind of hoping that I'd be like coming back. And I'm like,
yes.
No, I'm only here because they're here. I'm bringing them to church. I'm being the good cousin who makes sure that they go to church.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've officially left.
Yeah. And
But,
they've
like,
acknowledged
to Rochelle's
it
comment-
as well.
Pardon?
And they've acknowledged that your name is off.
Yes.
Yeah,
I've got confirmation that
Yeah.
they have removed it.
Before you respond to Rochelle, Frank also pointed out an interesting thing, that the reality on the ground is that Adventism is not uniform, but it's their incessant desire to try and make it uniform that causes the problems. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, because I think realistically, I did notice this when I was in high school, but it became very much more apparent when I was at Avondale. But there was like this insistence on like trying to get people to like all believe this one thing.
Yeah.
And like you couldn't have any kind of diversity in how you approached a certain topic. And it came very apparent to me. I had this very distinct memory of this poor casual teacher who had recently lost her husband. And she wasn't Adventist, and she believed that they're in heaven. And my class, to my shame, they were like, no, there's no such thing as that. Like, he's just asleep. And like this poor teacher, you could see how upset she was by
Yeah.
that. And there
Yeah.
was zero compassion, zero like empathy.
Yeah.
It was just straight up, this is the fact, you are wrong. How could you believe in that? And I was just like looking around, absolutely shocked at the way that they would treat somebody without even thinking, this is an actual person with human dignity.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know,
So
have
sad.
some nuance.
Can I, just talking about that, I just want to, I want to try and show you this thing. Adrian Anderson sent it to me this morning. And I just want to try and find it. Because, and I'll just play it up to the mic. I'll just see if I've got it.
Judas's grave is recorded in Scripture.
Oh.
Better, he had never been born.
So he's saying Judas, better he'd never been born.
I want to say this to all of us, and I'm including myself. You know, I've always been a simple preacher, and it's because I don't look for these high-flown polysyllabic
Trying to make
words
himself
to
a man
describe
of
our
the people.
condition.
I'm a
They're
simple
simple.
man.
And God's will is simple. The most wretched man in hell will not be Adolf Hitler.
Listen to this.
The most wretched man in hell, or woman, will not be one like Joe Stalin or some of these more modern devils. The most wretched person in hell will be a former Seventh-day Adventist.
Not Hitler, not Stalin, not Judas. Classic Adventist moment. He sets himself up. I'm a man of the people. I'm a simple man. I listen to the will of God. And the most wretched man or woman in hell is not Hitler, is not Stalin. It is a former Seventh-day Adventist. That's Charles Brooks, the much-loved Adventist orator. Wow, that just blows my mind. I'm going to do a whole show on that segment because that is disgusting. Shame on you for saying that. Shame on, not you, Jane. Shame on people who believe that. That is disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, it usurps God's unique and only his role. He is the ultimate judge. This is a distinct, I feel like, I don't know if this is something that other denominations believe, but the Catholic faith teaches that one should never assume someone else's or even your own salvation. And I think I sent Adrian.
Yeah,
Shout out to Adrian.
Thank you, Adrian. I always get the best material from Adrian.
I'm trying to remember what I said. In the Catholic faith, it is taught that it is a sin to presume one's salvation. Not a mortal sin, it's not going to cut you off, but it's really putting yourself in a place of complacency or despair if you're like thinking about your salvation in that way of like, oh yeah, I could do no wrong and I'll be saved, or I could never be possibly saved in that way. And then I said this really beautiful quote, which is in the Catechism of the Catholic Church, and it's From the stand before her martyrdom, St. Joan of Arc said, when asked about this, "If I am not in God's grace, may God put me there, and if I am, may God keep me." Like, that is the whole point, to have complete faith and putting complete surrender into God's hands. We can never assume somebody else's place. Like, we have no idea what a person's last moments are with God. Like, that is so intimate between them and God. We can never, ever, ever judge somebody else's possible lack or salvation. We can't.
Yeah. Yeah. And the reference of what that Catholic teaching is not even about assurance of salvation. It's about actually saying there is much to be done. Stop focusing on that when there are people to feed. There's people to
Yes.
help, And the beautiful thing, as you said about the orders, and we'll get on to the nun stuff now, is that you can find a place somewhere. We all want to find a place, I kind of view Good News Fellowship as not necessarily a place. It's a place of camaraderie and friendship and some very simple common ground views and teachings, but in some ways it's like an airport terminal as well, where people are going off to different destinations and always coming back and hanging out and sharing their stories. But it is a place where people can find other people that are doing the same thing. And Adventism, doesn't encourage this notion, so some people may not have the skills of going out into community and working out a soup kitchen or whatever, but we all have ability to serve and to give service in some form or another. And I think that that's what that kind of teaching alludes to, is to stop navel gazing, stop worrying about whether you're in or not, and get on with the task at hand, which is actually one of the core things Jesus taught.
Yeah. Do you mind if I start this particular tangent
Yes.
with the first paragraph out of the Catechism of the Catholic
Oh,
Church?
yeah. There we go. We're jumping
It
in.
says, "God, infinitely perfect and blessed in himself, in a plan of sheer goodness, freely created man to make him share in his own blessed life. For this reason, every time and in every place, God draws close to man. He calls man to seek him, to know him, to love him with all his strength. He calls together all men, scattered and divided by sin, into the unity of his family, the Church. To accomplish this, when the fullness of time has come, God sent his Son as Redeemer and Savior. In his Son and through him, he invites men to become, in the Holy Spirit, his adopted children and thus heirs of his blessed life."
I like it.
Like, I would highly recommend reading this book if you actually want to know what Catholic
Hold it
Church
up
believes.
so we can really take a mental screenshot.
Yes.
Catechism of the Catholic Church. Yeah.
This is basically everything the Catholic Church teaches and believes. Unlike, I don't know where I put it, actually. Unlike this, which is from Wikipedia.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But it's a little tract that my mother gave me. But yeah. Ultimately, the whole thing.
Can you hold up the
is...
second one again?
Oh, yeah.
Because I remember you sending me a screenshot of that. Yeah, I know. It's
First words in it. Oh, wait. Here we go. Don't quote Wikipedia. Just academic rule number one.
For fun, can you read the first words for us?
Pardon?
For fun, can you read those first words for us?
Wikipedia describes papal supremacy as the doctrine of the Catholic Church, which the Pope, by reason of his office as Vicar of Christ, the visible source and foundation of the unity, both the bishops. It's a very running long sentence.
Yeah.
In fact, the whole first paragraph is a sentence. So yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. And, reminds me of The White Lie, which was written to discredit, sorry, The White Truth, which was written to discredit The White Lie. And I remember reading that and going, what? This is just ridiculous. And I think more and more things are being revealed about cray-cray Adventism than defending it. So, yeah, okay. So tell us now this moment where, you've had all these interests in Catholicism, the art, the symbology, the getting into the communion, understanding the deeper meaning, and you now start to enter into the practice. You've gone to church on Sunday and Saturday. You're double winging it a bit. How long ago, and what happened to make you actually go, right, I'm going to embrace this more? And then what does that look like? And how did that lead to you wanting to become a nun?
Well, realistically, as I have alluded to earlier, it wasn't exactly like a, straight up thought that has recently occurred to me. It was when I was in high school that the idea was very, it kind of came to me as like a, wow, like everyone else in my grade really wants boyfriends or girlfriends, and I kind of wanted a more in-depth relationship with God.
Yeah.
And I was like fascinated by the idea that someone could dedicate their entire life, including their purity and virginity for Christ.
So
And
that was
like, I'll be honest, I was also like, I also saw like Sister Act
oh yes.
and Sound of Music. Like, obviously I saw those films, but like, yeah, I think we watched a whole documentary on Mother Teresa when I was in high school, and I was like enthralled. Number one, because Saint Mother Teresa's order is known as the Navy SEALs of religious life.
Yes.
They're
Navy
hardcore
SEALs.
nuns.
They're very hardcore. They want you to experience the pain Jesus felt on the cross.
Yeah.
And only then will you know Christ. Come on, no medicine for you. Take the pain, feel the pain, embrace your Lord.
But yeah,
like 20 more push-ups.
Yeah,
So
they
that's not the order
they're
you're
all
joining.
in.
That's not the order you're joining, though, is it?
No. No, that order is very active. There is active orders and contemplative orders. There's also in between. But contemplative would be like the ones who are silent and pray a lot.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, so from like, I'd probably say, I don't know, probably when I was in high school, I was kind of thinking about it. Then I kind of dabbled in I don't know if people will know what I'm talking about when I say the Liturgy of the Hours, but it's kind of like it is the old monastic way of the 7 different prayers you pray during the day. And you start your day with like offering all of your joys and sorrows and everything to God, starting a day purposefully, and then like it goes throughout the day. It's different kind of prayers that you pray during the day. And I discovered that when I was in Avondale, and my friends kind of joked about it, like, Jane, that's so Catholic.
Oh, interesting.
And I'm just trying to, like, I don't know, live purposefully and have like a purposeful relationship with Christ. I was trying to like deepen my prayer life a little bit. And also it was kind of funny because I don't know if anyone in the comments also went to Avondale around the same time I did, but the boys where a lot of the theology students would live was called the Vatican or Rome, I think. I think they had different like names for the boys' dorms. And so like my idea was like, oh well, we live in a convent and we're just nuns.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, no, I think that's weird, Jane.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, it's very I was trying to like I was also like discerning whether I wanted to like whether I was really like wanting marriage as well, because like I think that's often very talked about when you're at Avondale is like people just
Mm,
get married and all those
yeah,
kind of things. But I wanted to make it like a not just a spare of the moment decision. Like
yeah,
I personally believe that like if you're committing yourself to somebody, that vow should mean something. It
yeah,
shouldn't just be a spare of the moment thing. Um, but yeah, so I was like, actually thinking about whether marriage was something that um I was called for, and I'm still single and unmarried.
yeah.
But and I'm very glad of that actually. I think I live a very blessed life, but and I'm not depressed or sad that I'm not married.
Yeah,
But yeah. Um and then I think I just for a very long time after Avondale, I was just trying to figure out, where I was meant to be spiritually. And during my time at Pillar of Fire, my previous church, I was still trying to like, I don't know, reconcile lots of different things. But of like what I believed and whether Adventism was really it, or anything like that. And I found myself in a very lukewarm spirituality, I think. Like I my prayer life was really, really dismal. And but then I was like yearning. I still wanted to have that relationship with Christ. Um, and I think I was still trying to figure out what I actually believed when it came to communion. And I think this is one of the big linchpins for me as to why I'm becoming Catholic. Is because I came to the realization um, that I believe in the true presence of Christ in the Eucharist, um, which is something that even the people who followed Christ in the Bible were like, well, that's a bit much.
mm,
So, um, but yeah, it was a very like intense moment that's kind of hard to explain unless you live in my brain. but but it's like I got slapped on the wrist and told you shouldn't make jokes about this. This is my body and my blood that you're talking about.
right.
Very esoteric moment with Christ. And like in that moment I felt like really convicted that number one, I had done the wrong thing in joking about such a thing.
Mm,
Um but also that I should tell the person who I was in the car with that I that I was wrong. And I
mm,
was like, but God, he's not gonna even get what I'm talking about. But but like it was like something that kind of really tipped the scales in a way that like I don't know, like changed my life forever, which sounds
mm.
really contrite, but
No,
yeah.
it's not contrite. I think, and it's not essential, but many people speak of that moment when, it might have followed years of thinking and thought and
Mm,
experiences, but for many people, there's a moment. I had a moment like that, April 30, 2022, and you just think about it, you remember it, and you get a lump in your throat. There's often, so don't apologize for it. I think that can be not a silly moment or a flippant moment. It's built on a foundation of often many years of thought and coming to that point. And it's followed by a deeper commitment and understanding that I think when you look back from that point, you can see your life becoming more rich and meaningful and purpose driven.
Yeah. And it was that time when I was like, oh, okay, I better actually like, I don't know, meet with a priest. Like I was like, what do I do now? I guess I actually have to go out of my comfort zone and meet with somebody. Which
Wow.
as I said before, I am not someone who does anything out of the comfort zone or
Yeah.
realistic. And even to myself, I'm like, oh, this feels so this feels so rash. What a rash decision, even though I've been thinking about it for 10 years
Yeah. What a
and
rat.
really trying
What
to
a
avoid it. Like,
exactly.
oh no, what a rash this has been.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I distinctly remember that. And I think I have my my notes, my little note.
Yeah.
I met with a priest and he's like, and here's your prescription. He just
I like that.
literally wrote me homework. And his first thing was continue reading the Bible. And I was like, cool.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll have to buy a Catholic Bible now.
And is that different?
It is different. It has 7 more books. But
That's
yeah.
right. It's got the apocryphal works in there. So what can you tell me what the 7 are?
Yeah, it has an additional few verses in Daniel 3 and 3 more chapters, which is fascinating because I just read them
Interesting.
this last week.
Yeah.
And here's my Bible just here. I go to the contents. Oh, this is going to be embarrassing. Let's see how long it takes me to find the table of contents.
That's all right. I'll give a quick plug. Everyone, this Thursday, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, or Friday, I'm just typing it down, 12:30 lunchtime, and I'm just putting the website there. Join us as we continue to build Good News Fellowship. Not a church, not a religion, not a denomination. We're just gathering together, a small bunch of us, looking at the gospel, looking at the good news, and enjoying each other's blossoming friendships. And I think, Jane, you often come along and share your thoughts. And it's really a watering hole for, for people all around the forest to come and gather, share their stories, find common ground, support each other, and then to go back out in your world and do your thing. So I can imagine, now that I've gotten to know you better, that you'll enjoy our Good News Fellowship and then go back and enjoy your reading of the catechism, chatting with your local, what do you call it, not a church so much as a parish, and finding out more and more about your progress in that faith. So I love that idea. So yeah, I've just put it in the comments there so that people can click the link and go and subscribe and join us this week.
I think I also want to highlight that, like, after that really esoteric moment that I mentioned before, I had this like insatiable desire to read scripture, like read the entire Bible instead of just like little bits of it. I'm probably like, I've done it like chronologically. Finished Daniel, which was interesting. Having read a lot of Daniel growing up. But also really like it changed. It was like night and day, my prayer life. Like I would be like so dry. Like I would be like, I don't know, I would barely talk to God. And now I have like a prayer diary that I write all of my prayer intentions in, including friends' prayer intentions. And I pray over it and I take it with me to church and I pray over it there too. So like, I don't know, it's like night and day, the difference, the fruits of the Spirit, I think, is very different now than the lukewarmness of sitting in a comfort zone.
Yes.
But yeah, the different books in the Bible include Tobias, Tobit or Tobias.
Yeah.
Judith, 1st and 2nd Maccabees. Wisdom, SDAQ or Ecclesiasticus.
Yeah.
Depends which translation you have as to what it's called. Baruch, which is really interesting because he was a travel buddy of Jeremiah, and they are so different. Like, one is cloudy and one is sunshine.
Yeah.
Jeremiah is depressed and Baruch is like, everything's great. They're like,
He's Pollyanna.
oh, you guys are friends? Okay.
Yeah, they'd have some interesting lunches together.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what else is not.
As an aside, I've done several shows on the apocryphal books, and Ellen White supported them, and some of her visions even borrowed from them. And she encouraged people to read them, which was a surprise to me because the church has tried to distance itself very much from the books of the apocrypha.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I don't understand how she would encourage people to read that and still be like, but the state of the dead, we shouldn't be praying for the dead. I'm like,
I know.
well, in First Maccabees or Second Maccabees, it distinctly says that we should.
Yeah, there's some amazing paradoxes. Well, let's call them paradoxes kindly.
But yeah.
Some interesting conversations going on. Let's maybe bring some comments up. Dexter writes, respectfully, I think, to Steve Beagle's Gospel Adventists are not Protestant.
I would argue that they are.
Yeah.
Because Protestant means protesting against the Catholic Church.
Right.
And Adventism famously does that. Infamously, I would say.
But minus the gospel, like most Protestants try and include the gospel. Let's see what else is here. Sir Nilo writes, I love Tobiat.
Yeah, Tobiat, yeah. Great book.
Stephen Ling writes, hey, Peter, you did a show, is Ted Wilson's Adventism your Adventism? Yeah, that's right. Maybe there is a follow-up show called Is Pope Leo's Catholicism your Catholicism? Well, I think it doesn't matter if it is or it isn't, because you can find an order in there that matches and dovetails and aligns with the kind of Christianity you want. Frank Merendino writes, Paul's letters focus more on unity of the body than individual. What's JBF? Was forged into the crucible of the unity of the church. If he were around, he'd be shocked. Not only at the division. Yes, good point. And Barry, agrees with me. Ellen loved the Apocrypha. That shocked me when I did that show with Matthew Cortman. Lone Viking says papal supremacy split the church in 1051 AD. There is an interesting history within Catholicism where they've done some pretty nasty bad things, and where I think at one point there were 4 popes.
I think there was 2. It was the Holy Roman Empire, and there was a German one and a French one.
French
one? An Italian one and a French one.
I can just imagine there being a French one and that disagreeing with the others, which is fine. Yes, Lone Viking, Jane did talk about her exploring of Anglicanism. How about Lutheranism? Did you look at that at all?
I did, but I have so many problems with Lutheranism. I also have equal problems with Anglicanism. So questionable way to start a church is all I'm going to say.
Now, Mark, okay. Now, Mark Anthony asked a question earlier. Mark, you might refresh my memory what it was, but it was something about what does becoming a nun look like? What is your day-to-day, and what is the name of the order? Can you tell us that?
Yeah. If you don't mind, I'll kind of get into going into that.
Yeah.
Just for the narrative's sake.
Yes.
Because I was like continuing to go to mass a lot more, and it felt like I was literally sneaking out to see a boyfriend.
Yeah, interesting.
in a way, and like I was like thinking about it, and I was like, and I was reading lots of works, such as I read The Story of a Soul, which is the story of Saint Therese of Lisieux, which I would really, really recommend. She is amazing. And also The Interior Castle by Saint Teresa of Avila. Now, this is probably going to be like if you know anything about these saints, you'll be like, I see. But I was thinking about like, oh, hang on, this idea, this calling that I've had that I've tried to substitute other things for, like, oh, well, I obviously can't be a nun because I'm an Adventist. So maybe if I study theology, that might fill that gap, that like calling, and that didn't work. Maybe if I'm a teacher, maybe that will fill that gap. That didn't work. And then I went into academia, and then I realized I had a severe temptation to find my self-worth in my own academic skills.
Yeah.
And I was like, when I made the choice to like actively pursue like, you know, actually like growing my faith in the Catholic Church, I kind of had the realization of, hang on, this could actually be a possibility. Like, why would God put something on my heart for it to not be a possibility, or for it to, because and I prayed about it very not obsessively, but, you know, I prayed about it a lot, like prayers like, if this isn't something that I should be pursuing, I want this desire to leave. In no way am I saying that that's like a foolproof method, but like very much like I do believe that when God gives you a holy desire for something, like, I think that's definitely from God. Because other comments, when I was like talking about this with my former church, they were telling me things like, and this says a lot about the gaslighting of leaving the Adventist church. They would be like, oh, you can't possibly be having a better relationship with God. Like, what you think is a better relationship with God is actually the devil tricking you. To which I was like,
yeah, I know.
Interesting method of the devil.
Yeah.
Sounds very counterproductive of him, actually. Like, yeah, things like that. And I was like, no, I don't think, I think it's definitely God leading me to have a better relationship with him, to have to be yearning an intimate relationship with him. And don't think that in a weird way, but like but very much like when it comes, and this is what connects it to the Eucharist, for those of you who don't understand, it's an incredibly intimate thing to be like basically taking Christ, you know, eating his flesh and drinking his blood. Like,
can sound
in
morose
John it says,
to you.
if you do not eat my flesh and drink my blood, there is no life in you. It's like it's like a sustaining, something that sustains you. And right now, because I have not officially entered the Catholic Church, and I won't until next April, it is genuinely painful to not be able to receive communion. And I've gone to retreats with the local missionaries of God's Love Sisters, and it is like a genuine like hunger and thirst, a yearning to be united with Christ that I can't have. And it's such a it's really hard to explain how that feels, but yeah, it's genuinely painful not to be able to have the Eucharist. But yeah, it's so I've had contact with several different orders, one of them being the Missionaries of God's Love. They are an interesting mix between Franciscan and Dominican and Carmelite. Now, if you don't know anything about those particular orders, I think, Peter, you know about the Franciscans.
Yeah, yeah.
But the Dominicans are very into knowledge and preaching and that kind of stuff. And the Carmelites are a contemplative order who pray and meditate on Christ and are very much, they can be a little bit mystical, quite mystical.
Listen, there's three
but
good anchoring points there where you get to embrace, if you're a creative person that likes thinking, you've got that component, you've got the help community component, and you've got a bit of a mysticism there if you're a creative person, which you are. So it sounds good that they've merged three different kind of ideologies into one.
Yeah, and also they're Canberra native.
Yeah.
So an Australian native order.
Do they have a property and a church on
the nuns?
What is the
the
date?
nuns have a house.
Yeah.
Super unassuming. It's like any other in the neighborhood, except for when you walk inside, you're like,
right.
oh yeah, this is a convent.
Okay. Right. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So come April, not only will you be embraced into the fellowship of Catholicism as an official member, is that the point you're thinking of actually moving and living in this?
No, I'm not allowed to for 2 to 5 years. They want you to live a faithful Catholic life and kind of just get used to it a little bit. Yeah.
I like that.
It's also a test as well to really see if, if your vocation is your vocation, because this the way the Catholic Church is, it's like vocation is like a really broad term that can mean marriage, that can mean your job, that can mean like living a consecrated life, whether you're like a consecrated virgin or if you're like going a religious order. They're called religious order because you have like priests who are secular order, and then you have like brothers and sisters like the nuns and monks who are the religious order.
Right.
Yeah. So complicated, but yeah.
But where you're heading, I mean, is to a point you hope kind of on your radar to become a nun, maybe join this particular convent. And when you do, what will your day-to-day life be?
Well, it depends if I do join the Missionaries of God's Love. They're actually relatively new on my radar, I'll be honest, because I had been previously looking at the Carmelite order, which the discount Carmelite order.
They're the more
which
mystical,
are more contemplative.
Yeah,
you live in a monastery, you never leave.
Oh wow.
I am a very interior person, and I like silence and all of that kind of stuff. And I only recently met the Missionaries of God's Love through their pastoral care, because who would have thought that maybe some family drama and former church drama may indeed impact my mental health. And the priest was like, would you like some pastoral care, and I'll reach out to the sisters and they can help you, and that's how I met them.
That's lovely though, isn't it? To
Yeah.
feel that you can actually go somewhere for support. Yeah.
Yeah, they're genuinely great. I went there, I met with them, and then they invited me to dinner. And then while I was there, like, I even got to stay for their night prayers, which was so cool. It was like, wow, I feel like I'm one of you, but I also feel like such a newbie and I don't know
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah, yeah. And do you think that that may be too restrictive? Like, you strike me as someone that definitely wants to have a lot of your quiet, contemplating time, but that you also might like to go out and do stuff. And it sounds like this other one you mentioned, the mission, what are they called? The missionary.
Missionaries of God's Love, yeah.
Sounds like they might
MGL.
be more open to going out community, but also contemplating
Yeah.
doing some academic stuff as well. I mean, I'm not telling you what to do.
No, this, I mean, look,
It seems like
one
a
of the biggest
more
things
holistic
about
thing, a
this
holistic approach.
process, these next few years, like, it's called discernment,
Mm,
where you know, you're in communion with God and you bring all these kind of thoughts and to God, and you like pray about it for a long time. Obviously you cannot discern forever.
yes, yes,
But like it's ultimately like giving, like holding all of these thoughts and emotions and all of these things and going, here God,
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know what to do with this.
yeah,
Ultimately you're in control. I just want to follow where you lead.
yeah. I
Which is
like.
a terrifying thing to do sometimes, but ultimately he knows what is best for us and where we're meant to be suited. And yeah,
And
seeing
it
where he
really,
leads is going to be the exciting part.
yeah, and it really helps you to step back and to even listen to your own inner. I don't mean in a mystical way, but that inner guidance that we often have, which is just our mind. Stop the pushing, stop the chaos, sit back, and then sometimes things just emerge,
Hmm.
and you think, oh, okay, that's probably the more important thing. I often say to people that say, oh, make a decision, do this, whatever. I say, I'm just going to sleep on it. And just the sleeping on it really helps, where I'm not thinking about it. And this discernment idea that you're speaking of sounds a little bit like that.
Yeah, it is essentially opening yourself up to the Holy Spirit.
Mm.
You like.
Oh, I've lost Jane there. We're talking to Jane Krause about her incredible journey. I'd like to take this opportunity. We're going to wrap it up in a few minutes. If you have any questions for Jane, if you could shoot them across there. And while we're waiting, Dexter's Lab had a really interesting point there when we were talking about Protestantism and Adventism. I hold to this term of Protestantism, member or follower of any of the Western Christian churches that are separate from the Roman Catholic Church and follow the principles of the Reformation, including the Baptists. And yes, I agree, Dexter, that if that definition, definitely Adventism doesn't fit into that. Um, that definition for sure. We lost you there for a second, Jane, but that's all right. I kept
Oops.
on chatting. And we're going to wrap it up soon. And I just invited anyone to ask any questions they might like to put forward. Now's the time. Sir Nilo writes, I'd love to see the SDA Church have nuns and monks.
My teenage self would have loved that idea.
Yeah. And I think just with that idea of orders, just different order, that'd fix so many problems. You could have the Fordite order. You could have the CB order. And that's okay. Because at the moment, the leadership is very weak. It's not, it's trying to please everybody. And I mean, I'm not the top level leadership starting to try and be very clear about what Adventism is and what it should be. Erton Kohler and Ted Wilson and all those guys. But leadership in Australia at the union and SPD level, they're just, on the one hand, they want women to be ordained, but on publicly they toe the line. And if it was set up in such a way, and weirdly, Ellen White did set up the unions so that people could have cultural reasons for deciding on the ground where they are of how things should run. That's almost like a big view, different orders around the world. But they wouldn't have to try and control what people think if they allowed for that true diversity. But as Rochelle said earlier, you can't do that if you're running a cult. It has to be around the very simplistic belief. And Adventism's belief is all around Ellen White's authority and her claim that there will come a time when people have to stand without Jesus as an intercessor, not and keep the commandments and vindicate Satan's claim that they can't do it. I mean, Satan said, "Oh, they can't keep the commandments unless you're there pulling the strings, Jesus." And he said, "Okay, I'll show you." And you wait. And Ellen White said, "Yeah, Jesus is going to walk away and you're going to have to keep the commandments and not sin." That's not biblical, but that is the essence of Ellen White's teaching and the Adventist Church's teaching. So any rebranding of that is not Adventism, no matter how fluffy jazz hands you make it. So it's a shame they don't have orders, because you could then go, well, I'm the order of Ellen White's prophetic nature, or I am the missionary for Des Ford's doctrines, and people could just fit in, and leadership would happily not have to make any decisions, which they seem to be void of being able to do at the moment anyway. So have a quick look at the comments, and if there's anything there that you can see.
Yeah, I just want to respond to one of Mark Anthony's comments. He's like, I'd like to warn Jane that that's love bombing. I would argue it's not love bombing when I request that I'd like to stay for night prayer, or just genuine pastoral care isn't love bombing.
Yeah, they're not out.
Love bombing is being like constantly like, welcome to church.
Yeah,
Happy
Sabbath. Yeah, and that fake scripted, hey, how
Yeah.
you going? Oh, good.
Stay for church lunch.
Yeah.
Whereas famously, the Catholic Church is not like that.
Yeah, they're more Jewish in the sense that they're not out there really trying to proselytize.
No.
You find your way into Catholicism, you find your way into Judaism. You don't walk along the street and get head banged from a street corner preacher,
There are people who do that, but they're so rare.
Yeah.
Like, so
Yeah.
rare. Like,
Yeah.
the audacity that some people go through.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Motor Sapien writes, Jane, when you join in April, will you still be able to talk with us? I'd love to hear your thoughts and steps as you go through.
Well, in April, I'm just getting confirmed. That's all I'm doing in April.
Now, we didn't actually address, because you said you're not sure which order you would join. So let's just say, if you join the missionary
of God's love, yeah, they
the
do social
three-pronged
media.
one, what's your day-to-day life with them if you become a nun of that order?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I don't really know enough about them just yet. I know way more about the Carmelites because I've researched them way more.
That's the path you were heading down. Well, give me an example of that. If you joined them, what would your day-to-day life as a nun look like?
Well, usually they wake up at 4:30 in the morning.
Oh my goodness, I'm not joining that one.
And they usually go pray together, and then they I think either they have breakfast, and it's usually in silence. They usually eat in silence unless it's a feast day. And then they'll usually have mass. Usually have mass every day. So that's another thing that like is so confusing for a lot of Adventists who really believe in the Sunday law.
Yeah.
Because I regularly now go to mass a lot of the time.
Yeah. It's not just Sunday.
Like I went this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I very frequently go on Saturdays. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Jude Young writes, question, Jane, how are your family feeling about your move to Catholicism?
Yeah, they don't like it. They don't like it, but I understand that they're just afraid for my salvation.
Barry writes, I think with tongue slightly in cheek. Jane, when did you lose your fear of the Jesuits?
I don't think I've ever been afraid of Jesuits. Especially because, I don't know, I didn't buy into a lot of the fear tactics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listening ear writes, Jane, I believe you are sincere about this situation, and please be patient and prayerful.
Yeah, honestly, patience, man, that is the one thing God has always been teaching me. Because I think I honestly was like, I just want to join now. I just want to have Eucharist now. I just want to join the order now. Whereas God is like, no, this time of patience, this time of waiting is good for you, and it will form you, and yeah, you'll grow in relationship with me that much more. But yeah.
And Dale's watching from Bakersfield. Hey, Dale, good to have you watching today. There's been lots of interesting comments today. Well, in closing, what would you like to summarize some of your thoughts? Anything you've left out? Anything you'd like to touch base on? Dexter writes, Jane, a light-hearted question. Are Jesuits Catholic ninjas or Jedis?
Honestly, they're probably Jedi. But that just says a lot about my affinity with Star Wars. I'm a nerd.
I love it.
I'm a nerd. Yeah. I got a lightsaber.
Oh yes, I can imagine you signing up as a Jedi.
Yeah.
I think I wrote that on the Australian consensus once. What religion? Jedi. Apparently, something like 30,000 other people did that year. So yeah, just wrap up for us. Give us a summary of your thoughts. Journey,
honestly, how
you felt about chairing today.
Oh, I was originally nervous, but I'm okay now. I just want to say, like, if people ever want to know about it, it's not that like secretive. Like, it's really easy to just do your own research, because I think a lot of people have a lot of misconceptions about like, I don't know, veneration of images, saints, purgatory, all these kind of things. Like, we didn't really touch on any of that, but like, there's so much to learn. There's so much beauty. And yeah, I'm so glad that I went down this road, because it's opened my heart up to just how amazing God is. And how much he, like, every time I go into my church, my parish, which is the cathedral here in Canberra, I always just sit down and I just look up at the crucifix, and I'm like, he did that for me. Isn't that amazing? And I don't deserve that at all, but what a gift.
There's a palpable response because of the beautiful art. Well, thank you, Jane. I appreciate you coming on the program today. I know it took a lot of courage, and maybe because of, the ramifications of some things you've said that people are yet to see. So keep us in the loop about that. Everyone here, I think the majority at least, really support you in your journey. Rochelle wrote, did Jane mention that she read the entire catechism before she started? She's done the research.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a try. Not really try hard, but like, man, I overcommitted to like learning everything. Well, the good thing is that, like, I wanted to read this book because it is the entire, like, teachings, everything, like all doctrine, everything is in this book.
In the one book. Is it available?
So, like, I was like, before I commit, before I commit, I wanted to, like, be like, is there anything that I'm going to, like, wildly disagree with? Is there going to be any red flags? And I just kept reading it, and I was like, and everything is, like, so based on scripture, like, everything is so well thought out. Everything is, like, so, it was like scales falling off my eyes. And I was like, Oh my goodness. Why was the Adventist doctrine so convoluted and hard to understand? And this is just like
Very clear.
so clear.
Mm.
And
And
yeah.
I think Rochelle's point is that for those who are saying that you might make an emotional decision, reading the entire catechism indicates that you've gone in with a fair bit of thought.
Yeah, I don't know if well, obviously you can't see everything that I got on my desk. I was like, I'm just gonna have all my notes on hand. So I have like
Yeah.
literally like a philosophical text on Catholic Christianity
Oh, yes.
that I have, as you can
Wow,
see.
you've got a few. Yeah. See, that indicates a fair bit of actual cognition
Yeah.
going into this. Wow.
Like that's highlighted and underlined. I've got my Bible. Obviously, you saw that.
Yeah.
Um,
Brian
my
writes,
prayer
if
bag,
there are
my
Jedi, I'm in.
diary.
Brian, we'll start a local Jedi chapter.
But yeah, and I'm
Lord,
reading of the saints. This
oh
one,
yes, show us that one
super
again.
interesting. As you can see, I've really
Oh.
read into this. Some very interesting things that I was like, because the thing about Carmelites is they're very mystical, and they talk a lot about visions and the need to be discreet about them. And I was like, yeah, Ellen, you could have taken notes on that.
Yes.
I think I sent Michelle some screenshots of the
She
book.
wasn't a discretionary visionary.
No.
Lord Cannabis says, how is Jane going to give the loud cry to us while she's stuck in a monastery? Lord
Oh, you want me
Cannabis,
to warn you?
Lord Cannabis, just because of your name, I want you to come on the show. Send me a message. Dexter writes, yes, the evidence is the lightsaber. Motor Sapien says, Jane, make sure you say hi to your cat from me.
Yeah, I don't know where she's gone.
Yeah, I expected to see her pop up more.
Yeah.
Well, we might wrap it up there.
Can I leave? Can I end on a quote?
Yes.
One of my favorite quotes from Saint Therese.
Yes, and don't end if there's more you want to say. I'm happy to keep chatting, but now's
I
a
just
good
lost the
time.
quote. Oh no, here we go. So just a little bit on Saint Therese. She's a Carmelite saint, and she died when she was 24. But she's known as the Little Flower. Her whole philosophy is called the Little Way, and it is essentially imagining it's reclaiming yourself as a child of God and putting your arms up like a little child so
Right.
God can pick you up like the Father he is and carry you up to him. And she says, I understand that every flower created by him is beautiful, and that the brilliance of the rose and the whiteness of the lily do not lessen the perfume of the violet or the sweet simplicity of the daisy. I understood that if all the lowly flowers wished to be roses, nature would lose its springtide beauty, and the fields would no longer be enameled with the lovely hues. And so it is with the world of souls. Our Lord's living garden. He has been pleased to create great saints who may be compared to the lily or the rose, but he has also created lesser ones, who must be content to be daisies or simple violets flowering at his feet, and whose mission is to gladden his divine eyes when he deigns to look down on them, and even more gladly they will do his will greater in their perfection. And I love that quote because it really sings the whole thing that like we cannot be uniform. We cannot all be perfect. Like we can only, I don't know, we all have our vocation that is unique to us. And it is equally as valuable. We are all equally as valuable in our human dignity as each other.
Oh, I love that. That's a good quote to end this conversation. And of course, look forward to seeing you in the comments in other shows. Good News Fellowship on our Friday. And thanks so much for being a part of this community where people can share their journey, their stories, be open to some challenges, but ultimately be respected for using their own grey matter to draw their own conclusions and to push, to allow yourself to be in situations where you can ask questions and where you can also sit back and say, hey, I need some help too. So thank you for your honesty and your bravery. Those watching, if you'd like to support what I'm doing, thank you. There's a few dollars rolling in, and I appreciate that. And I'm trying to put even more time and effort into the program, and particularly in getting it out there. We're close now to 4,000 subscribers on YouTube. On 2 other platforms, we've got, over 3,000 as well. And not that the numbers matter, but it just shows that there's interest in this kind of channel, particularly where we look at the Seventh-day Adventist Church from all different perspectives. And so, yeah, Jane, thank you so much for being a part of it today. And we'll look forward to seeing you next time.
Happy to be here.
See you later.
See ya.